And does anyone have any questions or else I'll get started?
Oh, good to go.
Right.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Right. Everyone recording, I will start in 5 seconds. Oh, sorry. Before I get started, how do you say your last name? Sorry.
Gallagher.
Gallagher. Got it. Okay. Okay. Three, two, one. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Med Boys podcast. Dr. Brendan Gallagher is an oral surgery resident at the New York University. He's an entrepreneur, public speaker, podcast host, and so much more. We're honored to have him in the podcast, and I'm sure it's going to be a great conversation. Hi, Brendan. How are you doing?
Doing great. Doing great. Thank you guys so much for having me on. Been a busy day and I love podcasting. Love to connect with you guys. I'm super excited right now.
Thank you so much for coming on. We can't even imagine how busy you are right now. And to take this time out, it really means a lot. To get started, we wanted to ask you a little bit about your journey to getting to this point. Like, what did you do? Could you tell our viewers a little bit more so they get some background?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So oral and maxillo, and it's different. I think it's the same in Canada, but in the United States, oral and maxillofacial surgery residencies, there are two types. You have the 4-year program and the 6-year program. The 6-year program has an extra 2 years because you spend those 2 years in medical school and you get your MD. The 4-year track, which is what I'm in, I don't get my MD, but I get in and out. It's quicker. And the fact is, probably around 99% of oral surgeons, for the surgery that you do, the job role that you go into, you don't actually apply. In MD, you get a phenomenal amount of knowledge, right? An unbelievable. But for oral surgery, you don't necessarily use it, right? And I wanted to weigh out those pros and cons, and I thought, I want to get to work. I want to get to it. You know what I mean? That being said, so the route of getting into a residency in oral and maxillofacial surgery in the US, you go similar to going the medical route, right? You got to go 4 years of undergraduate. You got to get the prerequisites to take the MCAT in medicine. You take the DAT in dental. From there, you go to a 4-year dental school, similarly to a 4-year medical school here. And then from there, you apply directly into oral surgery. Now, one of the things is that if you don't get in right away, you can do a residency year in general dentistry. You can do a residency in what's called a non-categorical oral surgery resident. So that's a 1-year intern year at an oral surgery residency somewhere in the country, and then you reapply during that year. You get experience in surgery. You get it shows that you're really willing and committed. Say you had a weak application. Some students would say that it gives you another 1 or 2 tries to take the CBSE, which is kind of like the MCAT and DAT for medical and dental school. The CBSE is the dental school exam you take just for oral surgery itself. Um, Gives you an extra try or two if you were to take an on-cat year. I beg to differ. Personally, when I mentor students, I say don't take a non-cat year if the CBSE is your weak point because you're so worked in residency as an intern in a non-cat year. You want to study for that. I recommend taking a GPR, general dental residency year, so you actually have time to study for it and then reapply. But that's more than you asked, I know.
Well, I mean, from what you've discussed, it sounds like oral surgery and dental school in general, it seems like a really competitive stream. And we know from what we've looked at in terms of the statistics that it's one of the hardest programs to get into in the US and in Canada. So our next question to you is, what are some of the things that you did in dental school or throughout your undergraduate career that you feel has helped you get to this point in your life?
Oh yeah. Lots of things, and it is very competitive. NYU here is extremely competitive because just a few years ago they made medical school free for students, and then the applications, it just flooded the system with that because it became like the first one in the United States that's free. Um, but I mean, not for me though, because again, I don't get that. But to get there, I mean, it's I'm going to say it too. It's cliche. You got to get good grades. You got to have a good ranking in your class. My thing is, you don't need to be one in the class, and you don't need to get the top GPA in the class. My number one thing that's different from what my mentors told me and other people is that I think you always want to get the best GPA you can get, the best ranking you can get without changing your personality. I mean, you guys know in undergraduate, in medical school, right? It's extremely competitive. It's extremely competitive. And I don't like to see when personalities, character, people's relating and connection with other people becomes compromised in order to, they think in their head they're getting the edge. I'm gonna get more questions right on that exam. I don't think in the long run it doesn't actually pan out. And I always think personality and character comes first. Get the best ranking GPA you can. Aim for the best you can. And you know what? If you stick with a good attitude, I think you're going to get there anyway. Moving on. You need to get, like I mentioned before, a good CBSE score. The CBSE, I don't know if you guys are aware, it's like step one, but it's instead of step one questions, it's only 200 and you get a certain amount of time. It is geared more for dental, but medical students can take it too. Need to get a good CBSE ranking, GPA. You need good letters of recommendation. So you need to be spending time with doctors in the dental school to get there. You need to have done externships. Externships are when you schedule a 1 week. It's different for medical students. You have clerkships, your I forget the sub-Is, right? An externship is fixed to a 1 week time, rather than when you're a sub-I, you spend like a month or 2 weeks, and they divide it up 2 weeks and 2 weeks. Externship is you spend 1 week at an oral surgery residency, and basically you're shadowing around, even doing procedures, assisting in surgery, perhaps. Very important because programs are going to look at how many externships you did and where you went. So it's good to plan those at prestigious programs. Last but not least, you could say research helps in some situations. I did research in dental school. No one asked me about that. But I did put on my application. I had 15 interviews. I put that I play the violin, research among everything else. One or two programs asked me about research. Literally 10 or 11 asked me about playing the violin. And that's good for your guys' application to med school. It is. They want to see something about your personality. They want to see how you're unique. What's going to stand out for you on your application. So that's getting into oral surgery residency. To quickly go over getting into dental school, I mean, same thing. Good GPA. You want to show that you're active in extracurriculars, leadership positions. They want to show that you're taking initiative. Sports help to show that you have experience in a team atmosphere. But as far as getting to med school and dental school, I think predominantly it's going to reside in your GPA, what school you came from, letters of recommendation, you don't usually get ranked in that, but then your MCAT and your DAT.
This is phenomenal advice for pre-med students, pre-dental students, and even dental students. But moving on to your residency currently, what do you do as an oral surgery resident at the moment?
At the moment, in oral surgery, at the moment, placing a lot of implants, extracting teeth, bone grafting. When I'm on call, lots of laceration repairs of the face, head and neck region, mostly of just the facial structures, facial fractures, bones of the face, fractures all the way up to the skull, jaw to the skull, even back towards almost to the ear at some point because the TMJ is back there. Also on call, a lot of abscess drainages, unfortunately, sometimes splinting teeth. That's a general dentistry role, but we do it on call here at this program. That's on call. Among other things, I'm sure I'm missing a few. In the clinic, like I said, implants, wisdom teeth extractions, that's a primary oral surgery procedure. Wisdom teeth, sedations in clinic, I said implants, bone grafting, assisted on an apicoectomy yesterday, it's like a tooth infection at the apex. You kind of remove it, you plug up the root of the tooth from the back end, bone graft, seal it up. Cool procedure. Endodontists usually do that. And am I missing anything? Oh, we go to the OR to repair facial fractures, cancer of the head and neck here at this program. Some programs don't do cancer. Here we do. Glossectomies if you have, cancer of the tongue, just to give you more idea. So a wide range, a broad scope of procedures. We're a very broad scope program.
And that's very interesting. I didn't expect that I thought it'd be more based on more relating to the oral side of things, but you do a lot of ENT work as well, from what it seems like. I can't even imagine how much anatomy you have to know. It's crazy. Because the face is just something else.
You do, and it's important that you say that. So where that it's kind of derived from, as far as what I've seen, we cover facial trauma on call at the hospital, and facial trauma is rotated, at least here, 3 days. So one day it's plastic surgery that covers facial trauma. So they get any facial lacerations, any fractures to the face, trauma. The next day, it no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. First day is ENT, and then, well, I mean, depending on how you look, ENT, oral surgery, and plastic surgery. We rotate in a 3 day cycle on facial trauma days. But yes, we have to know. We all have to know the anatomy of the face. It's also very important to know your scope and say, like, we're really getting into the sinuses here. This is going to be better for ENT to
Mhm.
consult, right? It's very important to know your areas, especially in the tri-state area here. All the specialties under the sun are at some of these hospitals. So let's make sure the best well-trained people for certain things in anatomy, like you mentioned, go to the right specialties.
Mhm. And generally, how many hours are you working every week, and how much time are you on call for?
So legally over a 4 week, like the law, legally over a 4 week period, you're not allowed to average more than 80 hours of work a week. Right now, I'm right around there, 80. I would say last year as an intern, would go over that sometimes, not to go too far in the details, sometimes way over that. But last year I was working 6 days a week. You get one full week on, and you guys are gonna have this too. In residency, you get one full weekend off a month. The other weekends, you get one day off. And that day, you might be coming out of call at 9 a.m. So you're really only getting from like 9, 10 a.m. until you have to go in at like 6, 7 a.m. the next day. So just to keep in mind, it's a very rigorous schedule.
Yeah, honestly, from what you've said and from the experiences you may have had in your internship, it seems as though there is a problem with in terms of like how sustainable is it in terms of working this hard? And why do you think that is? Why do you think that there's this cap, but sometimes residents or interns might actually transcend this cap in some way?
I would say understaffing. I think a lot of the programs, a lot of the hospitals are in fact understaffed. I really do. I really think that why do we have an on-call resident working 24 hours in a row? Why it's 2023. We determined that this is an ineffective, inefficient, and can put patients in harm decades ago. Why are we still doing that? I think and this is just my own I don't think, and it's different in Canada too. I don't know to what extent because I don't have the experience there, but I really do think there's a certain level of reinvestment into residency programs and such that's not giving the attention that it probably should, right? And we all like to talk about it and stuff, and I have to tweak my social media content to an extent. Not that I did anything wrong necessarily, but institutions want a certain narrative spoken about, and I've had a conversation with the office here and stuff, and so rather than getting too far into that, I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah, I think more attention needs to be put in it. But look, politics runs the show in certain things, and healthcare there's a certain financial deficit in healthcare, and as we know, insurance controls a lot of the financial scope. I don't know how it is in Canada, but so this is the reality of residencies here. There was a study. There was a study done. There were several. It was like 7 or 8 plastic surgery residents. I don't know what hospital this was. There was a study done, and they took away these like 8 plastic surgery residents at the hospital. And they said, we're going to end the residency program here. We still have the work that needs to get done, but we're going to hire nursing, other staffing, PAs to take care of it. They needed to hire, I think it was like 22. I could be off by 5 or so, right? Doesn't matter. They needed to hire like 22, 23 nurses, PAs, managers, etc., to fill the deficit of those 8 plastic surgery residents. And it came out to it was something like 10. It was like I could be off. It was like $10 million or something. the amount of work that these residents are being put through. And they're being underpaid. They're very being underpaid. If you were to do it, last year I was at like $7.48 an hour. So yeah, I could go on it more, but that's maybe for another time.
I mean,
That's
that
completely fine. And I think that when it comes to like the family doctor shortage here in Canada as well, it's a big problem. So we can see that it's universal and it's difficult to address it. But Naman, you can continue with the next question.
Yeah,
yeah,
well, real quick, you guys know about ChatGPT, right?
right, yeah.
Yeah.
What, as far as family medicine goes, what direction do you three guys think we're going in as far as AI can be used in the medical spaces?
We were actually talking about this today. Like, for example, creating posts and stuff are now going to be taken over by Microsoft is designing a new AI to just create graphic designing posts. And we were thinking we don't need to make them anymore. And we've had this conversation about, just diagnosing cases as well. I think we actually made a TikTok about it, about diagnosing a patient through ChatGPT. Honestly, we can't tell how accurate it's going to be. All the information comes from Google, but at the end of the day, it's just what they're getting from the internet. So it's very uncertain if we can even trust an AI to diagnose a patient. I think the human touch is still required at the end of the day. But what do
Absolutely.
you guys think?
Me or you,
Everyone.
Mitt, Rochelle?
I think that like when it comes to AI, I think one of the biggest problems is like what Naman said, the human touch. I think that a lot of people underestimate the importance of there being like a physical person in front of you, talking to you, wanting to get to know you, and from the perspective of even like a dentist or an oral surgeon or even a physician, right? And I feel like that emotional component of caring for someone is what also helps patients sort of adhere to the treatment guidelines or whatever they're being prescribed. And I think the AI is not currently at the level at which we can really generate that emotional connection. Although there's some like research that shows that some patients do prefer the AI style of therapy because of some of the more human based phrases they can mention. But again, that face to face interaction is what truly differentiates the interactions that normal people have with AIs.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
I'll play the other side a little bit. I feel like if ChatGPT is this good already, we don't know how good it's going to be in like 3 or 4 years. Like ChatGPT 4 is already coming out, which can use images and videos. So that completely changes everything. But I feel like doctors, dentists, people in healthcare, I think we shouldn't really fight this. We should really be using this to make things a lot easier. Because for radiology, for example, radiologists aren't going anywhere, but this makes their job like 100 times easier because if ChatGPT can solve these many things, they could probably figure out how to look at images and find things and then have someone supervise that. So I feel like integration will be the main thing in healthcare, but as we all know, like healthcare doesn't evolve that fast. So it will be kind of hard.
I completely agree with that. That's my kind of take. In medicine, it's tough. In medicine, it's tough because, well, you have the conversation with the patient, the heart to heart. You also have the surgery, and obviously, we are way too far out. I mean, decades out as far as AI taking over a surgeon's role, right? So the touch is one thing, but then the verbal, the relation, the connection with a patient, we're getting there. I still think we're a ways off. I agree with that. But here's the thing. I think so recently, last couple months, when ChatGPT came out, came a big thing. It's getting banned at schools and everywhere. I think we got to update the system. I mean, look, it's not 1920 anymore where we're putting chalk up on the board, right? Why are we having students write 10-page papers when we barely finish reading a page? We should be teaching students how to make an effective educational video in under 30 seconds. Right, like let's move on, guys. We got like written's good. Let's work on it. Let's shorten things. And then here's another thing: we should be using AI to ask the like we. Here's the thing: they were able to AI's crushing MCAT scores, step one scores, everything. But the creativity, I think, still isn't there. So we should be teaching students how to, rather than how to, they could plug in an essay written in the form of some famous poet in 1968, regarding this topic or that topic. No, we should be teaching students how to ask the appropriate questions, and then using the product to create. We got to use the creativity. So to relate that to doctors, I completely agree. I think it should be an adjunct. It's not an either or thing. Let's keep the doctors. Let's train them how to use chat. Put them through medical school. Let's teach them how to use something like ChatGPT so that we have all the diagnoses on the board. We have all the treatment plans on the board. And then together as a team, you have the resident, you have the chief, the attending. Let's come up with the best answer, the best course. But like you said, we're way far behind, and medicine always is far behind, as well as educational systems. So we'll see where it goes.
I think like a lot of people are against it, but I think like Nimit said, we need to take a more positive approach to this. Instead of people thinking that they might lose jobs, I think it will also have the opportunity to create more jobs and for us to advance in terms of technology and AI. But yeah, let's talk about New York. It's one of the most diverse and interesting places. We've been there a couple of times, and Toronto is the New York of Canada. So, what is the most interesting case? Without obviously getting into confidential details, what is the most interesting case that you've come across in your residency?
Oof. Really cool thing. So most interesting thing in residency, the most interesting procedure I did was a bicoronal flap. That was at VCU though, where they cut from top of the ear, bicoronal from ear to ear over the top. They flapped this down. The guy was a cocaine abuser, had a posterior palatal defect, had no nasal septum anymore from drug abuse. And what they did was they used a portion of the temporalis muscle. They flipped it over, put it under the zygomatic arch underneath there, put a little hole in the back of his maxilla, and then used that to patch up the top of his maxilla. That was by far the coolest procedure. It was a 12-hour thing. Blood was everywhere, tracking out into the hallway with footsteps. Here, one of the coolest things I've done was last year, sometime, a little over a year ago, a little less than a year ago, there was a patient that I had to see in the ED, and he had a laceration through it was through his temporalis muscle. And as you guys know, the temporal artery is over there. And I think it wasn't the temporal artery, it was a branch of it. But I took all the bandages off, I opened it up because I had to stitch it up. And there was an artery shooting backwards on me. And so I quickly covered it up. I was like, all right, we're gonna need to get some sutures here, and I somehow I spotted this thing when I was shooting. I got lucky. First stitch right through it, this little bleeder. First stitch got it, closed it off, and I could immediately begin the whole last repair. This is in the ED. It was like 3:30 in the morning. Luckily, it all worked out great and everything. His scalp was open, and I was like, open, close. When he was opening and closing, you could see the muscle when you open it up. It was like, I mean, it's a bad demonstration, but you're literally, it looked like the muscles, but in robot form. Like you could see it opening and closing his jaw as he was doing. It was pretty wild.
That sounds exhilarating, and I've never seen something like that, obviously. But I was shadowing interventional radiology the other day, and it was like a vascular procedure, and I just was in there normally, but then a few hours later, I looked down, and then I just saw squirts of blood on on my scrubs, and I was like, "Where did this come from?" And then it was probably when they pierced the femoral artery to go in, and that was the first time I really saw blood like that. But it was really cool. A lot of these things are so cool. And what you said with all the facial stuff, we did some anatomy for that. And I've seen how many things there are. There's like nerves, veins, arteries. It's so hard to differentiate everything, whether it's fascia, whether it's a nerve. It just gets so difficult. So I don't know how you do all this. It must be insane. Um, I wanted to I wanted to ask you a question about entrepreneurship.
Sure,
Um,
sure. Is it
because
okay? I don't want to cut. Or do we have I need to call back
yeah,
and attending really quickly. Can I just have like a quick 3 minutes?
yeah,
I'm just
we'll
gonna mute
discuss
it.
this.
I'm gonna call them back. I'll be
Yeah,
right back. Okay.
that's not a problem. we want to go with the entrepreneurship question, right?
Yeah, I think we can move on to the entrepreneurship ones.
If you think there's another question that we can ask, like I don't know, but like we can also move on. Yeah, actually, I guess it's good to move on.
This question is good, right? We should go with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good introductory question.
Mhm. This is also a good question if we want to ask, but like more specific.
Which one, sorry?
The music one, since you mentioned it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I'm done.
Nimit,
Hmm.
did you contact the sponsors?
No, not yet.
Okay,
I,
just
I I only got home at like 5 or 6 or something.
okay. Just
But
just make up one email and send it to all of them. And just say that I'm making like a video about how I manage my time properly, and I've used your like product, whatever it is, to manage my time. All of them are related to time management.
I've emailed Notion and Keychron already, but I'll email them again.
Is there a number we can call?
No.
Hmm.
Notion's not gonna. Notion has like a thing, like they have like a cutoff.
Hmm. Then what else can we do? Like, are there any other products that I can put into the thing? Oh yeah,
Is
so
there is there like a low-key productivity service that like no one really knows about?
not really.
Like I seen Instagram ads about something called like motion or something. Like I don't know, like something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, I've heard of that. Yo, you remember that app Tony made, like the hub one?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Flipped or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What if we just contact them? We're like, yo, we
Yeah, I'm
want.
down. We could do that too. But I don't know how do you think we should contact them? Because like I don't even remember what it's like spelled like.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I'll look into all of it. Yo,
yeah.
I had a sick idea today. What
Mm.
if we made an ad on the TTC, right? Saying wanna get into med school, and it's just a QR code with our picture there, and we like, click here. Like, bro, that imagine how many subs we'd get in one day.
I'm down.
Yeah, it would probably cost like,
It's gonna cost a lot. It's
I
gonna be
mean,
like
we could
in the
just do it.
thousands. It's definitely going to be in the thousands.
All right, boys. Sorry about that. Thanks.
no worries.
Gotta do that.
And,
Yeah. Um, yeah, we'll just get started. Are you ready now, Doctor?
Yeah, call me Brendan. Call me Brendan, guys. Yeah.
Okay, Brendan. Yeah, so we'll get started again. Um, yeah, so we're just going to move into some questions that are related to things other than oral surgery and dentistry. We wanted to ask you a little bit about entrepreneurship because you have some experience there. So, as we all know, dentistry and oral surgery themselves are highly busy careers, and you talked about your hours. What got you into these other ventures, getting into podcasting and companies and all these other things?
Um, a passion of mine has always been, I mean, what got me here was mentoring. A big passion of mine is mentoring, giving back, in a variety of methods. I also I find it really exciting to connect with other people, virtually. I mean, guys, like, let's be honest. I wouldn't have been able to meet you for at least for years until we happen to be at a conference together. But we have Zoom. We can connect. Let's exchange ideas. I'm hoping we could connect at least another point two with Dose of Dental. On a night we could get the whole team. Let's do a mixture of medical, dental stuff. But a couple things I would say entrepreneurship. I always, how they say like either work too hard, like what was it? You want to work harder or work smarter. And I always thought, well, I want to work hard, but I want to work smart too. And I was always very passionate in surgery, but then at the same time, I was like, I need to figure out methods of side revenues, right? And then, as you guys know, it's pretty nice, when you can have a side revenue going on. Um, and so it all started with featuring other dental students on Students of Dentistry in very early on, my first year of dental school. So we started with Students of Dentistry. We added on, we created top dental practices. That's over 100K now. That's doing well. Elite Dentists, that's in the 50s, I think. Regardless, though, I also went even laterally, started top wineries, top breweries, top cafes, and just for fun. Let's see where we could go with it. And it all stems from the fact that entrepreneurship is about like it's a business, right? But I prefer the business where you apply value first and do it really well, and then money comes your way later. And I guess that's built on the back of branding. That's where podcasting, content creation comes in. I know I'm all over the place and throwing a lot at you, but I guess that's kind of where a lot of the passion of it comes from. The hours, look, I mean, if you want to do things, you want at work, you'll find, and you guys know this in class, there's one right answer on these multiple choice quizzes and tests and stuff, right? There's only one right answer, and you got to pick that one. There's not a lot of creativity to it. I don't know. Some in medical schools, there's short answers and stuff, sure, but regardless, the teacher wants one right answer, and it's pretty cookie cutter things. What about creativity? That's what kind of drives our personalities, right? And so when I finally get home, not every day is amazing. Not every day goes 100%. And a lot of times, especially when you're an intern and lower resident, they're tough. They're difficult. Dental school's rough. Sometimes we would have like 10 exams a week sometimes, 4 or 5 in a day. A lot of my escapism is getting back to the creativity that really defines me. If I had more time, I would do music production. I don't. So I went all in on entrepreneurism. And in residency, the hours are like 5, 6, 7 until 5, 6, 7. I'm still getting call. I'm not on call tonight. I'm still getting calls, and I'm probably going to be working until 9:30. And then now I'll finally get to my little thing, until maybe 10 p.m., 11 p.m., or maybe not. I'll save it for tomorrow. But we're here on the podcast, right? I don't know. And you guys will notice things get hard, and you'll see undergrad, medical school, residency, it gets tough. But you're going to have to find your methods to escape and work on your own projects and really what drives you, and what connects you with your friends and family that you don't get to see as often as you'd like. I could go on, but yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Of course, and I think there's a lot to unpack with what you said. And the first thing I'm going to start with is this really nice statement that you said, in which you invest in the quality of your business and worry about the money later. In fact, that's really been our motto with MedBoys, the podcast. We've put in a lot of work in our YouTube channel, and we only recently got monetized. And if we were honest, all we've made is like $40 from all the videos we've created. And we don't care. Honestly, we're really happy with the quality and the work we're putting in, as opposed to the money, because I feel like money is an afterthought. It'll come after, as long as you put in the work at the start. But I think that when it comes to so many involvements and so many activities, I feel like a lot of university students struggle to find the time to balance their academic commitments with what they want to do in life, what they want to pursue in terms of their creativity, like you said. So what do you think are some strategies that university students can use to really balance their time and manage all the many different ventures they want to go into?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're trying to, there we go. There we go. Get a little lighter on here. Yes. Number one thing. First of all, you might not, most people don't like to hear this. Undergrad, sometimes you feel like you have less time than high school. Would you agree or disagree?
I'd agree. I'd agree.
Sometimes you feel like in college, right, you have less time than you did in high school. Unfortunately, medical school, you're going to have, at least the medical students I know, even less time in medical school than in college. And I can guarantee you 1,000% the amount of time you have in residency compared to medical school, it's really tough. It's really tough. So that's like the what, right? Let me get into the how to that answer. So how do you maximize your time? I would focus as much as you possibly can in undergrad. Self-awareness. I don't know if you guys follow Gary Vee or whatnot, and that's why I love that you guys aren't worrying about monetizing things. In fact, not monetizing things, draw in like a net more viewers, followers, giving value. Something will come across your plate eventually if you're doing everything you like, and monetization will come later down the road. But getting back to that self-awareness, I would recommend finding the best way that you can retain information quickly and assuredly. Like, really, my thing was flashcards. I use Quizlet with the figures on it. I have the premium version. I could get through 3 sets and I'm getting 90 plus on an exam, right? figures, because we're all very visually oriented. So what I figured out is rather than me writing things down like I did in undergrad 5, 6 times, we're talking weeks worth. It takes a week to rewrite everything at once, right? You could put it all in Quizlet once, get through it in 3 hours, do it again. You can do the amount of studying in a weekend that you would have done in 2 weeks. So it's finding how you study best, most effectively and efficiently, quickly, right? Now, why does this relate to finding time? By doing that, you can really budget down. Okay, I have 3 finals next week. I got one Tuesday, one Thursday, and one Friday. Now you know how much time you need to study for those and a little more to excel in the class, right? But then you know how much time to budget on your time. Spend with friends, family, expanding on your project, playing the saxophone, working out at the gym, having a club meeting to close out the semester. Does that make sense? I think it all comes down to prioritization, which is around your GPA, applications, the MCAT. Get that down to studying effectively and efficiently in an amount of time. And now you know what margin you have for free time, your personal life, the club, the weightlifting, the instrument. Does that make sense? Is that
Yeah, it definitely does. We actually use this app called Anki, which is pretty much the same thing like you mentioned. We've been using it since second year, and I think it's been very helpful for us. We really just combine the lectures down to flashcards and review them, and that saves a lot of time. I think that's why we're able to make time for stuff like Med Boys and outside of school. But I wanted to ask you, since we were talking about creating non-monetizing content, you're able to grow a following of over 10,000. I think it's about close to 17,000 now on Instagram. How were you able to do that? What was your approach to gaining followers?
literally one video? So here's the thing. Literally one video gained me over. I was at 7,000
Mm.
back in December, guys. I was at 7,000. I posted a video on TikTok in early January from TikTok. So, and I'll get into the method behind this. I took one of my top videos from TikTok and I put it on Instagram because I knew it did well on TikTok. Oh, let's see what the Instagram community thinks, because they're different communities, believe it or not. And Instagram videos don't usually do as well on TikTok, but TikTok videos that do well, for whatever reason, sometimes do very well on Instagram. So it's not congruent, but this one, it literally gained me 10,000 followers. And I have the statistics. Like I screenshot it because I went from 7 to 17. And it wasn't like, so if you look at an account that is paid, where they Instagram will say like boost this post for more reach or likes or follows or whatever. If you think about it, if you were to do that, it would have growth of, if you have a graph over time, it would spike after you make a payment to Instagram, right? You see what I'm fine? Because you're going to get more reach instantly. It's going to give you more exposure to the things, the likes, followers from that. But then once that payment that you made goes up, boom, gone, down to zero again, right? The graph that I had from this one follower, it got over 500,000 views. It got like 20 something likes. It was this one post. I didn't have to pay anything. I knew it did well from the activity on TikTok. And it was just steady growth. I gained it was over 800 followers in one day at one point. And it went for over a month and a half, like this. It went up to 800 and then it's steady. It dropped and then it stayed up again. So that's it. That's organic reach. That's organic content, activity, engagement, right? That's what you want to go for. And we could go into strategy for that as well if you'd like at that point. And I could completely give you all ideas for your podcast. But that's what you want to do. And I think one way to go about that is make content, but geared towards different platforms. And you've probably heard this before. Make content geared for Instagram Reels. Make content geared for TikTok. Make content geared for YouTube Shorts. And also right now, make content geared towards Facebook Reels. Okay, these are the 4 platforms I would recommend going into, especially for you guys. Okay, look what works, right? And then also make things for Instagram and TikTok, and then put them on YouTube and on Facebook. Put them on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. Does that make sense?
Hmm. Yeah,
You might
definitely.
find that the things that work on Facebook work even better on TikTok or work even better on Instagram. And then you may find the thing that you thought was working on Instagram doesn't work at all there, and it crushes on TikTok and Facebook, for example.
Mhm. Yeah, no, we can relate to that on so many levels because what we've done is we split up. So there's three of us, so we all have different responsibilities. So I handle the TikTok, Naman handles the Instagram, and then we've seen that we put in the same effort, and then on Instagram nothing happens, and then on TikTok because the algorithm is as such, it just keeps blowing up. And then I think one of the TikToks we posted got around 150,000 views on TikTok, but then got 500,000 views on Instagram, which was just crazy.
Bingo.
Exactly. And then you just keep posting it, but it's also so unpredictable. So have you found a way to kind of make this success more constant? And what are some of the strategies that you would use for that?
Unfortunately, yes, I found a way to make TikTok more effective. I had just started posting TikToks that were effective on Instagram it was like November, December. January hit mid-January. That's when I had the conversation with the program thing. I posted a video that they wanted me to talk a little less about what residency's like in patient care, unfortunately, although that's the reality of life, right? Should we be promoting this profession and exposing it for exactly what it is? It's hard work, right? It's, you're a doctor. Like, it's not easy. And we are human beings, despite the narrative that some people like to think, right? We're all human beings here. Um, so I've been at I, not at a halt, right? It's not like I'm not allowed to make content, but the content that was working the direction I was going, talking about residency and such, I had to come back. I couldn't post it all for about a month. I'm slowly working it back. I'd have to reverse engineer my content ideas in production, but like it's gonna take a while. So okay. So going back, I initially started TikTok my fourth year of dental school, right? My content sucked. Oh my God, it was terrible. Like 4 views and stuff. But hey, you live and learn. I did that for about a year and a half. I started residency doing that, but I was posting the same video on both TikTok and Instagram, which, as you know, ineffective. You got to separate it. Um, and then when I just started doing it, I was like, you know what? I'm spending way too much time on this. Let me just have a conversation with the camera. Since TikTok was kind of like my guinea pig, just throw some content out there. I tried 5 posts a day. I did different things. Just try different things. And whatever works on TikTok, as you guys found out, then put it on other things. I would recommend doing the same thing for Instagram. Just do something organic. I was literally just, you know what? I'm going to walk out today. I'm going to talk about what I just did. Turns out it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I just got out. There was a facial fracture I evaluated. We were going to admit and do surgery hopefully the next day. That was it. 12 seconds, thing blew up. And I was like, okay, I think maybe I found something here. Turns out it was easier. I didn't have to plan these things out. I just leave for the day. I talk about what happened, what I did. And that was that. Um, did I get enough insight, like how I would recommend I would recommend all three of you guys, what you're already doing, you're on different things. Do you guys switch platforms though? Why not?
Well, the one thing we were scared of is on TikTok, when you switch the accounts, they often, like, we've just heard that they sometimes shadow ban you.
Yeah,
So that was the only
What do
problem
you mean
for us.
switch the accounts?
I
I
think
don't know which device it's on.
so. Pretty much, the more people that have the account, the less reliable like TikTok will think you are. I think TikTok shadow bans people who have the same account on multiple devices, and I think we kind of experienced that because we used to have a TikTok account in the beginning, and all three of us had that account, and our views just tanked. So
Interesting.
we kind of stopped doing that, and now it's just on one device. And whenever we have to record, we just record and send it to Nimit, or whenever someone's recording for Instagram, they just send it to me.
Okay, so you can still do it though.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
you have one person sign on per account. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then did you notice like one person really does well on TikTok or Instagram?
Yeah.
Honestly, like what I think from the patterns that we've seen, it's more related to like the content, really, not the person that says it. Because like there have been TikToks where like none of us have been in them and they've done well, or like one of us have been in them, they've done well. Like there's really no pattern we can see with that.
Got to do
But
it more. Got to do it more. Find
Yeah.
patterns. There are going to be multiple patterns too, which is the beauty of it. You know what I mean? Find a pattern, go all in on it, and always continue. Go in on patterns where that it's like a 60-40, right? Because you know you're going to get consistent good views here, but then every third or fourth one, mix in a new idea, a new, right, a new theme.
Okay. Yeah, that's wonderful advice for not only us as content creators, but for any other university student that's looking to be a content creator as well. Um, TikTok is a up and coming platform at the moment, so it's best to utilize the tips that Brendan's providing as soon as you can. And sorry, did you have something to say, Brendan?
I'd argue TikTok's also it might be around the down, on the other side of the peak. But yeah, I mean, I'm just, I totally agree with you.
Of course. I mean, with the fact that there's the introduction of a lot of bans on TikTok for when it comes to certain like professional devices, it definitely makes things harder for content creators. So that's something that we can empathize with as well. But just to bring things full circle, and this is going to be our last question to you, it's going to relate to your experience in dental school at large. So we know that dental school is really expensive, apart from, of course, the New York University where tuition is free. We just like to ask you, oh yes.
Medical school at NYU is free. The dental school of NYU is the most expensive dental school in the United States.
Wow. Okay. I personally didn't know that. So that's crazy. And that makes the question all the more relevant. How exactly did you go about funding your schooling or just your career in general?
That's a great question. So it's tough. It's tough because, and I try it. Here's the thing. I always get back and I try to look at, like, I sell things on eBay to help me make my rents right now. I'm literally doing, I'm selling my old dental equipment, but it's tough. And I noticed this in dental school. We had 44 students in our dental school class, very small. A handful of us had, like, our parents were able to support us with tuition. And I also noticed after that was revealed early on, because everyone was transparent early on, and then we found out that, people are kind of getting shunned for certain things. And one of them was, oh, those are the rich kids, right? And one of them had a bad attitude. I'm not going to lie. One of them did. She didn't have to talk like that to other people. But then that kind of gave a rep for a few people. And I'm like, no, 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 no. We're all in this together. We're studying together. We're all the same goal here. We're treating patients. So I was very fortunate. My family was able to afford and pay for my tuition through college and dental school. They did. And I'm not going to lie, that I had to pay for all, like, room and board through dental school, all my groceries, expenses, everything, gas, oil, water, all the bills, but they were able to afford my tuition. Now, is that like, it's a weight lifted off my shoulder, but do I not have to pay that back? I absolutely have to pay that back. That's part of my family's agreement. And it's expected that I will. And I have all intention of paying that back and more, as well as paying it forward for my kids, because I know that's how my family was. It wasn't like, I'm assuming loans. We were going to go in that direction, how to afford to pay loans, right? And I'm obviously not the guy to 100% talk about that, right? Especially with the rising interest rates and such. I think the biggest thing is when I talk about in healthcare, insurance is taking over everything. I mean, it's about what insurance covers and what's not, and they're not covering as much as they should. They really aren't. If you look at in like the 90s when insurances started to give at least in dentistry, where they give you like a certain amount of money to spend per year for any treatment whatsoever. In the 90s, it was like $1,500. Now it's like $2,500. But the cost of everything has gone up so much more. Why isn't insurance companies increasing? Look at interest rates. Why are insurance? I don't know why. I think they claim that they're non-for-profits. They're completely for profit. Something's going on there, and it's preventing patients from getting care that they need. It's making the doctors look like the bad guys in some circumstances. Why are you so expensive? This and that. So that's one thing. Dentists and doctors are not getting reimbursed the way they used to. Two, they're also in so much more debt than they used to be. So the gap has become so much further. And then a third thing is doctors and dentists aren't starting to work as early as they used to. Because now think about it, in medical school, they're going into residency, and then they're going into a fellowship, and then they're going to a second fellowship. So you're not starting to work until later on too. It's a different lay of the land and age. I think finances are a very important thing. One, I mean, happiness and passion is always number one, right? You need to follow your passion and dreams and everything. But I think it's very important to be aware of if you want to start a family, you want to own a house in the future, maybe you want to own a practice in the future, the finances need to be considered immensely.
I think that those are some very important issues that need to be brought up and they need to be addressed at some point because, like you mentioned, we talk about this a lot. Just applying for surgery residencies or even going into surgery, medical school in Canada is minimum 5 to 7 years of dedicated residency time. And not just money, just like you mentioned, starting a family or starting a business on the side. Working 80 hours for 5 to 7 strict years is dedication that is required and a lot of money as well. So I think these are all the factors that stray away from competitive residencies like this. Even though we need more doctors, we need more surgeons. But regardless, Brendan, thank you so much for taking the time out. We've talked about everything from dental school to medical school to entrepreneurship, and we want to thank you for making time. Do you have anything else for the followers?
Oh, thank you guys. No, thank you guys. Thank both, all three of you, really. I got to get you guys on TikTok, on Instagram. No, I have you guys on Instagram. I want to find those posts. I want to take a look at your content. Let's talk. Let's collab some stuff. Let's talk about like strategy. I really want to open the conversation to that. Any questions you have, any questions we have, I want to be able to throw them your way too and get all your guys' insight too, because you have an extreme amount of experience as well.
Sure. All right. I think we'll just stop the recording here, whenever. Um, but yeah, thank you so much. Like I think that we learned the most from this podcast, not just about medical school, but just about your experience with Instagram or just building a following, something that we've been working on for I think 2 years now.
It's tough. It's not easy. I mean, it's about quality content number one, but you need to have consistent quality content, right? And then you always need to try something new. Um, I was shocked. I mean, and I couldn't post, and that one post just for a month and a half kept getting more likes, interaction, engagement, followers. It's just one. I mean, that's how the algorithms work. They're all trying to copy TikTok. It's one video, it takes off, and the rest is history. I'm not kidding. I was at 7,000, and after that one video, I got to 17. I'm sure it's going to start to decrease soon because things go up. It's like the stock market, it goes up, comes down, it goes up, goes down. Um, are you guys posting every day?
Uh, so on YouTube we post once a week, and TikTok is almost every day, and Instagram, I'm not gonna lie, we were active, I think for 3 or 4 months straight, pretty much posting every single day, and then I think we just got like demotivated by like no improvement, no views. Like we were pretty much just getting around 400 to 500 views. Once in a while, there'd be like a video that gets to 1,000 views, and then we're like, we're not getting any followers. We're not gaining anything. Why are we wasting our time? So we kind of just stopped on Instagram, but we want to start back up again.
I definitely think it's worth it. I mean, look, you guys, you have three on your team. There's no reason. I mean, you have to look at where TikTok, obviously. I mean, right now, and especially since you guys are in it and on it, it's you got to keep going. You got to keep pushing that. Have you guys tried Facebook Reels at all?
No, but we've always wanted to get into posts as well because I feel videos, like long form videos, also do really well on Facebook.
They do. They do, as well as on YouTube, because YouTube you could have the long like this, the full podcast version horizontally. That's one, and then you could cut it up, and you could put your branding labels on the top and bottom of the speakers with the little thing in the middle, and then put that on TikTok. You can put that on Instagram. I would always recommend. I mean, you still have to keep going on Instagram. I feel like have you tried content geared just for Instagram as opposed to content just geared for like both of those?
Yeah, so I think from like our analysis, it was Instagram was more relatable content. Oh, I can relate to this person. Oh, this is tough. I can relate to him. He's a student. I can relate to him. So we tried to make relatable content, and it was doing all right. But TikTok is completely different. TikTok was information, comedy, all of that included. But when we tried that on Instagram, obviously that didn't work. So that's that's kind of our analysis of Instagram, really. But it's just at the end of the day, it's just unpredictable.
It is. It is. I completely agree, dude. Instagram has been sucking the last 3 or 4 years. When have they actually innovated and created something new for the platform that they didn't copy from someone else? TikTok with the algorithm, Snapchat, this little thing where when you
Notes.
go to the DM and it's like that little
Yeah,
they
yeah.
copied that from AIM Messenger from 2005. Like let's create something new, guys.
Yeah.
What is going on with them? And it's oversaturated. They're also changing the algorithm for per country. I noticed that, and I'm sure you guys noticed in Canada and the US, the algorithm is just garbage. They're over pushing purchase paid ads, right? So to boost their post, those are the only ones getting any views, and who's getting those views because it'll be a post in the United States and like Manhattan that no one looks at anymore, and they have like 2,000 followers and they're getting 6,000 likes on a post. No one sees anyone's posts anymore. But if you look over in like actually literally right now, India, I'm looking at posts in the medical space and they're blowing up. They're not putting they're literally recopying United States content, reposting it in their platform, but their algorithm isn't oversaturated like it is here. And it's not pushing direct paid ads. It's pushing, and I noticed that on top wineries because I initially registered it for Italy. I wanted to look like an exquisite thing, and it's still getting so much views because you guys follow, you guys get it.
Mhm.
It's tough.
I don't know. I
It's
think it's just we keep
it's just
experimenting.
it's the same for YouTube as well. Like there was this girl we saw who posted 3 videos on YouTube from India in medical school, and all 3 of those videos were over 150K right away. So she went from like zero to like 50,000 subs in like 2 months.
On
With
YouTube?
3 videos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on YouTube. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Mm.
So it's pretty crazy. And we've tried targeting our videos to these different areas because we've seen that some of our audience is from India, some of our audience is from Australia and the UK, but it doesn't get out to them.
It
Like those
No,
doesn't.
don't blow up. Yeah,
there's
It's
this
registered in Canada, right?
yeah.
yeah. I think there's this one thing on YouTube which is impressions, obviously, and it's just you just have to get lucky with impressions. Like when you post a video, the immediate response in terms of the impressions determines how the video is going to do for the next month or so, unless you come up with the most unique content or title. I'm sure you've heard of the Casper test.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so in Canada, there's not many videos about the Casper test on YouTube, and we kind of just started making Casper videos, and they started like getting good views, and that was our only way of separating ourselves from others. But other than that, if we're making MCAT content or anything else, it's really just YouTube deciding, okay, you know what, let's get this more impressions than the other one. And so it's at the end of the day, like putting so much work into a video and then just based on luck is kind of disappointing.
That is true. That is true. But do you guys feel that you're helping people? Have people reached out to you saying that you're helping them there? So,
Yeah.
and this is what goes back to the monetization, right, guys? Rashil, we were just talking about this, right? It's about the value. You do it for what it's providing the people. It's not for the likes. It's not for the views. And I think you're going to find if you're separating it for the platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, if you separate it and then try to flip the YouTube to Instagram, YouTube to TikTok, TikTok to YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, eventually something's going to land. But like you're doing it because you guys are passionate about it, you know?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. We've gotten so many DMs from people. Like I still remember like the first ever DM we got from someone. They're like, "Oh, because of your tips, I like practiced for 2 weeks straight and I got like a high score on the Casper exam. Like, thank you so much." And we're like, "Okay, so this is what we're doing it for. We're doing it to actually like help people." And we saw that like Casper is one of our best performing videos, but if you think about it, all of the informational videos we put out there, any of them could like help someone get like an amazing score on the MCAT or like something like that, right? So I think your point there is like really valid. It's more just about wanting the content to get out to as many people as possible so that it helps as many people as possible. And we're just thinking about like strategies that we could do. Maybe like, I don't know, maybe for like TikTok, we can try. I mean, we've already tried more informational strategies on TikTok. Perhaps we need to push those a little bit more too.
Just and real quick, are you doing YouTube? You're doing YouTube Shorts, obviously, for
Yeah.
the password
Yes, we
videos.
are.
Are you
Yes,
doing long form videos, horizontal mode?
we are.
Yep. So
Yes.
Good.
that's every Monday. The long form videos are every Monday, but shorts are pretty much every day. We try to post them every day.
Good. Have you been working on the headline, like the title,
Y-
buzzwords in the title?
Yeah, yeah, we do that. Yeah.
What are
Like,
some of the buzzwords, if you don't mind me asking?
oh, dude, like headline, like the number one key for passing, like
I
crushing
see.
Casper, crush Casper today. Um, like you know what I mean? Like big,
We've done that. Yeah.
huge, and you really have to do that every day. The number one, this like crushed it, just and then buzzwords, Casper, right? Like how to crush, and then everything between MCAT, all of it. You just and it's got to be every day. But you guys are doing that. I had one more question to see if um because content is what it because remember YouTube's the second largest search engine in the world.
Mm.
When you type in Casper, it's going to come up, and then when they see how to crush Casper and it's a 23-second video, they have time for that. They're going to click on it, and that's how you build brand, because something in there you could put where now they're going to look for you on TikTok. The thing is, what I think is so informational videos are great on TikTok, but you need to really simplify it, because I find that the people that were watching my videos on TikTok had nothing. They were watching stuff on teeth, nursing, surgery, and stuff, but they weren't surgeons, right? On YouTube, they are. It's a medical student looking for your content to do better on the MCAT, to do better in Casper, to do better on the DAT. But on TikTok, they're not. On TikTok, they're like, wait, so I should put toothpaste on the thing of floss before I floss my teeth and it gets toothpaste within my teeth? I'm not kidding you guys. Like in dental school, my partner and I, we get paired up in clinic. We learned that from TikTok, right? But everyone's learning these weird, wacky things from TikTok. It's like you have to think like that. The TikTok content needs to be just something totally different about like I don't know, on Instagram, the for students of dentistry, what's crushing it right now is we take a video from TikTok that is like a video of just someone doing something in the dental lab during dental school, just like putting teeth into wax for a future denture, and then just them walking through the lab. It's like in the moment, in the action stuff.
Mm.
I guess we haven't tried too many of those things, to be honest.
Just keep trying new things. Look at what's working out there. Look at what you want to make. That's another thing. Make what you want to make, right? You should be pumped. For example, I went in, I would be going, I get called at least like 3 a.m. I finally get out at 4. I'm like, fine, I'm gonna talk about this mandible fracture. It's his mandible is broken in 2 different places. I had to bridle wire it so that he can actually eat food again. People are like, what is he talking about? I like this. And you know what? That's TikTok.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to cardiac surgery shadowing tomorrow. So we'll make a video on that. We'll see how it does.
Dude, talk about it. Just
Yeah.
talk.
Mhm.
Right? Think about you. I'm trying to put it in. Think about you 8 years ago, right? So you were sophomore in high school. You don't know why are you shadowing? You say cardiac surgery.
Mhm.
Why are you shadowing cardiac surgery? What year are you? How long was it? What did you see? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Put it in the language of the average person in out there in the world has an understanding of a 7th grader, right? They used to they make fun of Trump talking, and it's like this is so dumb. But the average person thinks in the form of the language of 7th grader.
Mhm. Yeah, no, you're right. And I think we've seen that too. Like a lot of our TikTok content that's like completely random and like more relatable and like more understandable does like really well.
Yeah, yeah. And here's the thing: you guys are doing everything right. I think it's just doing more of it.
Mhm. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And this is really good advice.
No, I mean it's not about being right or whatever, but we're brainstorming ideas here. I love doing this stuff.
Mhm.
Do you have any ideas? Have you ever gotten any sponsorships by any chance, or have you applied to any sponsorships?
Sure, sure. So, I mean, I've gotten like scrubs sent to me for free. I don't like to have, I don't want, because I'm building brand too. And I'm building brand for this. I don't want any money from this. I literally want to build, when I think of these things, unfortunately, I think way too far in advance. I think 5, 10, 20 years out, right? Like, for example, insurance is a huge problem. And as you guys know, blockchain, NFT, things are changing. I think it would be phenomenal to create my own insurance company with a team that actually pays for people to get cleanings at the dentist office and whatever they need that year, implants, that someone that's actually going to pay for it. It's going to be an expensive NFT, but it's going to pay for the work you need. I think about stuff like that. I want to build brand, get a community, say like this guy hasn't sold me anything for my whole life. He's told me what I needed. You know, the app to do, he's not getting a sponsor from it. He uses it. He's giving, that's the kind of the guy I want to be. One sponsorship we had. So right now we're building, we're in production for like 3 or 4 years now. It's called the Pre-Dent Mentor Map. And we have a lot of data, all the data you need to apply to dental schools at every dental school in the United States. And we've actually connected because of Instagram, where we feature dental students at every school in the United States. We have connections at every dental school in the United States. So we brought some people on board and said, hey, would you just, if a pre-dental student was to submit some questions for you, would you mind answering them in an email back, whatever? So now we have mentors at every dental school in the United States. We compiled this thing, but how do we really build this into, I don't know, a product or service, if you will? So now we're working on creating a map where it's kind of like Zillow. It's kind of like ZocDoc. It's kind of like Amazon in a sense, where we're going to create a marketplace. But it's designed to, everyone that I noticed in dental school wanted to make money off of pre-dental students. I think that's, I honestly, I think that's pathetic. You know how much debt they're going to be in, and they still got to go to dental school and then residency. That's like the lion feeding on the little calf, you know, like the little baby deer running along. No, no, no. There are whales out there in dentistry, in medicine, these massive companies that are selling scrubs, that are selling scrub caps, that are selling, you know, they're called loupes, the dental glasses. They have millions of dollars a year allocated towards marketing. And as you know, they're probably putting it into a TV commercial that doesn't work. I want to create a model where pre-dental students could get free mentoring from the dental students in the United States, but I want the dental students to get some kind of reimbursement. This is going to take 5 to 10 years to create, but even if they could get $100 a month, maybe in 10 years, $500 a month, it'll cover groceries, gas. It helps, right? And there's more than enough money that Oroscopic Earth Designs for Vision can sponsor a portion or all of the map that could help out dental students. And yet, you know what? They're probably going to buy their loupes if they're getting help in that sense to mentor pre-dental students. So it's a very complicated vision, but I want to give back, right? You guys want to do the same thing. I know you guys now, right? That's kind of where I want to go with this. And it takes years to build. It really does. It takes a lot of long nights after getting back at 8 o'clock after a podcast to put another hour to look at designs and this. And you guys know how it works. It takes years to get to that point, and we're not even close yet. We finally found, it took us 4 tries, and you guys are getting there, websites and such. It took us 4 companies to go through to finally found a good website company, and now it's going to take them time to build it and whatnot. So that's just some of my experiences and kind of my vision. My question for you, do you guys have a long-term vision? Even if it's just personal to you, is it personal to your group here? What are you guys building? What direction do you want to go in?
Um, I can take that. I think we initially started off by just gaining more. So we wanted to create a platform where students could learn from. We realized that even with us three with the same goal, and I don't think we've told you this, but we've been friends since grade 9, and which is the junior year in. But
No,
anyways, we've been friends since
Freshman.
high school, and we went to the same exact program in university as well. And we had the same goals, we had the same classes, same courses, everything. And so we've had the same goals since grade 9. And we also started an organization, a nonprofit organization to help the homeless in Toronto. And that's been going since first year of university. So we've been doing like all these things on the side. But then as we were going through the entire medicine program, we realized that there wasn't a centralized source where you could find literally all the information. And given that the medical schools are so competitive in Canada, up down to 2%, 3% acceptance rates, we wanted to at least make it easier for people to find the information that's required, and at least for free. And we saw that, as the new generation is becoming more towards like the visual side, we wanted to create videos out of it. And then we started reaching out to our med student friends who were in medical school already, and we interviewed them, put them on YouTube. And then we realized that just by helping other people, we were helping ourselves as well. We learned a lot of information from them. Um, and now we think that our future goal with MedBoys is just to keep growing the centralized information source, and also try to introduce our personalities to people as well. Because not to brag, but I think we're quite interesting people. I think we have an interesting friendship as well.
It's amazing. Yeah, your guys' history. Oh yeah, absolutely. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we want to promote to the public.
Do you guys host sessions to give like info sessions, mentoring sessions once a quarter, maybe seasonal?
That's actually something that we've been thinking about for a long time. And once Naman and I do get into medical school, that's something that we're going to be doing in the future.
Good, good. Definitely do that. You could host it quarterly, get it down to monthly, one monthly 2, 3 hour session. Have everyone on. They could be on for free. You're going to do it for free. Record the sessions, put it, divide it up into question answer segments, and then have a website that students can have a subscription to potentially, or you can make that for free. So it's a database everyone could sign into. And then you could have the like advertisement banners and such so that, I don't know, for us, there's like DAT, but there's like DAT prep exams. It'll be like MCAT prep exams, STEP prep exams. Those companies could sponsor certain sections. There's so many ways to go about it, guys. And keep me in the loop. I wanna help wherever I can.
For sure, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because you want to make data and information accessible. If you so you host these sessions, right? It's a live session. They can meet with you guys in person, right? Or like virtually, right? Live, record it, organize it into sections, Q and answer. There's hundreds of other students with those same questions. Record it, put it in a database, and now you have an organized, and then put them all out separately on YouTube, right? Because then they can search it, come up with you got, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's something that we've thought of, and I think the way you're saying it is a really optimized way of putting it. And I think we resonate with you in many ways. Like for us, like all of us have always wanted to be doctors, and we've always wanted to go into healthcare, but we always also wanted to do something else and do something bigger in a sense. Like being a doctor, being a dentist, doing these things is a very noble cause. But it's like what you said, it's very like there's only one right answer. You're only doing one thing. And once you kind of get into like 10, 15 years of practice, you're not really like you are problem solving to a degree, but it's more like you're just on autopilot. So we want to do something that's more outside the box. And YouTube was one of those things that we wanted. And now we're also just trying to explore other avenues, like other businesses, growing like that. Because honestly, from the nonprofit that we started, we probably learned more through that than we did in like all of high school and all of undergrad, about just skills and everything. So now I think starting something that we're really passionate about is something that we're looking for, and the YouTube we just want to keep on a consistent basis.
I like that. What more steps? Also, every info session, you need to mention that nonprofit, not to sell it, just to create awareness. Literally, just to create awareness. That's good for you. It shows that you're doing something that's caring, it's passionate, it's spreading kindness. So Namit, you mentioned business there, businesses.
Mhm.
Anything specific? Anything you guys had in mind? Ideas?
Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
I so one you can talk about the consulting, but I actually wanted to talk about we've been talking about creating an MCAT course a lot, and I don't mean an MCAT course as in creating an entire 7 book series of MCAT content. I mean only test strategies and how to actually tackle the exam once you've gained knowledge from the books. And I think that's very important to mention because that helped us for the MCAT. So we wanted to create like a lecture-based, online website where people could go and purchase the course, I guess, with like 8 to 10 lectures, and they would try to understand how we approach the questions, and you could help them, and we could make some money on the side as well. Well, I want to ask you if you think, if that would work.
Well, of course it will work if it provides significant value and proven strategy. Like this is what I went in with. This is what happened, right? After the course. I mean, how of course it's gonna work. People are gonna be it's gonna crush it. Everyone's gonna want to be about that. But you need to prove that it has value. Sometimes that unfortunately, sometimes and I have this experience. Sometimes you have to give things out for free first, right?
Yeah.
But you need to record it, right? Because you show the beginning, you show the end result, and then you show how to get there, right? That's what gets people to click or to buy in or makes it worth. That's what you can monetize,
Mhm.
right? That's what makes it valuable. I think you can do it. I think between the three of you, that's one of several things you could do, though. I mean, look, you're building brand, you're making content every day. You can host info sessions like that. You can create courses from recordings that have proven to work. There's so many avenues you could go about it.
Mhm. I mean, for from your perspective, here in Canada, it's a little different than in the US, obviously. What do you think would be a good path for us to take going forward, just based on your opinion?
Well, I want to know what you guys are willing to do because some people aren't willing to host an event every quarter, every week, every Sunday, every end of the month, once a year. And then are you guys effective at mentoring students? I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
some people communicate and connect better with some people. Some people are motivators.
Hmm.
Some people are the smartest people in the room and they can't talk. They can't talk. You know what I mean? All they can do is write all day, and that's fine. But you need to have the self-awareness to put it in your form and then the form that connects with other people. And sometimes that's two different things. But like, what do you guys want to do? And then here's the thing: you have 3 team members. Maybe someone's really good at writing, someone's really good at video, someone's really good at hosting a course and writing things on a board that people can understand. But you have a team of 3. Like I'm just one person. You're just one person, but you could divide things up. What do you guys want to do? That's the question.
I think for us, we just want, so all of the things you said are definitely things that we do want to do. And what you were saying about doing it every week even, we've kind of gotten into the mentality now that it doesn't matter how much work it is, like we're willing to do it. Because it's the same thing with these videos. Like there are some weeks where we're literally scripting on Sunday, editing, filming on Sunday, and then posting on Monday just because we don't want to miss the video. So honestly, we're willing to sacrifice anything to kind of like I would say we're very motivated in that sense.
You need that. You need that discipline and the persistence. You're saying every Sunday you guys are doing this to post on Monday. You need to continue doing that.
Mhm.
But you need to start getting a little more engagement with the audience.
Yeah.
What does the audience want?
Mhm.
What does the audience need that you can deliver?
Mhm.
What does the future audience need that you already did deliver, was proven to be effective, and now you have the results to show that, and that's something that they're willing to pay for monetarily.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It takes time. But if you're doing this every Sunday and you're posting every day, you've already proven you have the commitment to it, the dedication to it. Now it's just time. But you need to think of how you're gonna, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Find it, engagement with the audience you have, what you can give for them for free works, show the results, and then use that as a net to bring in future customers, if you will.
Mhm. For your own TikTok and for your own content, how do you engage best with your users and your viewers?
Well, best. It's actually subjective because it's like, what do users think is best, and then what do I think is best? I do like to do, and I'm going to get back to it eventually. For the last like year and a half since I started residency, a little over, but I've taken 3 months off. At the end of the month, I host like a Q&A session where I put out like a question
Mhm. Yeah.
box on Instagram, and then people can ask questions, and then I'll answer it in video format because I like. I mean, I don't know. I I like to connect people through talking. I don't want to text someone. And I can respond quicker. And then that also saves it to your story, and then you could repost it at a later date on any platform you want. I really like that. And then it turns out, here's the thing, it doesn't get a lot of likes, right?
Yeah.
But if you get 84 likes, probably 20 of them it made an impact on that they can actually bring to their table and use. And
Mhm.
that's really what it's about, right? We're talking about it's about the value to the person itself. Um, that's probably my favorite. What's the best? But then here's the thing: the talking about that one night on MICU, like people had to be re-debated. Someone like a massive transfusion protocol was called. A busy night. That's what got the most likes, views, engagement. What got me 10,000 followers. Literally one video. I didn't know this was possible, but it did. Um, so best is subjective. Is it what's helping people, or is what keeps people entertained?
That's true. Yeah.
And maybe
It's
it's
a
all
hard.
of it, right?
Mhm.
What do you think? What's best for you?
Sure.
I mean, it's hard to say. I feel like it's I think I think from the for the most part, the content that we've posted that's informational, at least in my opinion, has done the best. But we've always wanted to make that transition into like the entertainment sphere. So that's something that I was gonna ask you about personally. It's like how can that transition be made if we're already people that are viewed as people who provide information? How do we make that transition to sort of the entertainment area? Because in our opinion, we see more growth in the entertainment sphere compared to others.
I have two. I have two. Because, we're all looking for escapism, especially when we pick up the phone. We're not looking for an advertisement. Sometimes we're looking for information. All the time, we're looking to laugh. We're looking to, go out there. We're looking to learn about putting toothpaste on a piece of floss that we're going to try tonight. Um, so how do you get into that? You got to try. Come up with an idea, all three of you, three separate ideas, don't tell, and then you share it. What do you guys like? Come up with 5 ideas each for humor, entertainment, however you want to put it, right? Five each, run it by everyone else, put votes. Hey, we're going to try this one first, this one next, this one next. And then this is just my idea, put an informational post up, try that first humor, informational post, try the second humor one,
Mhm.
after you have a list of, that'll be 15. Now we're already at a month later. One of those humor or entertainment posts is going to have the most likes. Take the top three, top five, and say, oh, look, it might be a comparison of 8 likes versus three. But you go in next month, 5 ideas each, take the top five. Let's do five on this idea, right? It's just trying and coming up with some method that works for you guys until you get it. Until you get it. I can't tell you if it's going to work tomorrow. I can't tell if it's going to be next year. It's trying and it's having fun with it too. That's what makes it worth it.
That's true.
A lot of people like the mask video because medical students are very like and then residents are like whatever with the mask, right? I don't know. People relate it. It's what people relate to as far as humor goes.
Mhm. Anyways, Brendan, we can keep asking you questions, but we want you to get back to your life as well. So we'll let you go. Um, if there's any questions, we can message you or we'll stay contacted. And in the future, maybe we can do another episode as well.
100%. Guys, I'm all ears. DM me. Guys, get me on Instagram right now so I can get you back. Um, I want to get each of you on there. Also, can you yeah, because Naman, I have you, right?
Yep,
If
yep,
you can DM me everyone or I'll see it. I'll see it. I want to get you guys back. Let's absolutely. If you got any questions, just DM me. Just hit me up. Any if you want to plan another event, I would like to do a combo event between us and Dose of Dental and you guys. And like we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
for sure.
Perfect.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Thanks so much.
Thank you for
Thank you very
talking.
much for your time, Brendan. We appreciate that so much.
Of course. And hey, good luck. It's a tough route. Stay the course. Always keep you remember to be true to who you are. Character, personality, your attitude is what people will remember first and foremost.
And
For
best
sure.
of luck to you, Brendan. We know that you're on the same path, so
Thank you. Thank you. It means more than you know. It does.
You have a good night.
Bye.
Yes, yes. I got to call another call. All right. Good night, boys.
Good night.